times I try to fix this. Dimitra's here. Hi, Dimitra. How are you? I'm gonna send you. You have to send me your request to get into my room. You need to send me a request for the conversation. Please send me your request. Please, please send me your request for this conversation because we have we. Why? Cool. We have here. Yes. Yeah. Hi. Cool. Yes. She's here. Hi,
Hi.
Dimitra.
Hi.
I'm, I'm really
How are
excited.
you?
Oh my God, I'm really happy. I'm really excited to see you. I mean, I was looking forward for this. And like I say, many days, I mean, like few days before, and I was expecting for this conversation because I was telling my friends about you, and I wanted to make this the very first search, first session for the Talk of Coco channel for YouTube because I only recorded some other sessions before. I mean, before you with people from Nicaragua, from Central America, and Latin America, of course, in Spain. I have some friends from Spain that I've talked with them before about technology, but now it's the very first time that I talk with another person in another language because this time I'm speaking in English with
Yes.
you, and some people realize that they don't talk to I mean they won't understand some stuff because I have to speak in English with you, and sometimes I will have to translate some stuff for them because they will watch it whether in Spanish and English, so I have to switch with I mean to switch both languages, and but yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for asking me to come and chat with you. And I'm just, it's so lovely to connect with poets across the world and, poets who speak and write in a different language. It's amazing.
Yes, I've read many other poets before. I mean, they have sent me their that is failing. Sometimes internet sometimes doesn't work really cool. So we hope
Yes.
it helps today. But yes, I have to translate some other poems from English to Spanish, and some to from Spanish to English. And yes, many people like to read them. I've saw that many. I don't know how you could say big numbers in all these web pages, and I'm really excited because people like to see those poems and read them and try to reflect on them. I mean, this is really
Wow.
a cool experience. I'm so happy.
Amazing. That's spectacular.
Yeah. So how did you feel about me and getting me and trying to and getting me to translate your poems from English to Spanish because it's
I
really
can't
cool.
tell you, like, it's so exciting. Like, it's one thing to like write your poems and know that people in Australia, some people might read some poems, but to sort of reach across the globe and have like a poet like yourself engage with my poetry and put it into a different language, because I mean, the act of translation is like, it's a creative act, isn't it? It's like writing a poem almost from scratch. So it's just so amazing to have another poet look at the words and, you know, translate them, and then to be read in that language. It's I don't know, it's very cool, and it feels like the words have traveled across the globe. It's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, it must be a really comforting experience for you. And yes, this and it's a really beautiful experience because it makes us feel connected with some other people. I mean, people, yes, worldwide. I mean, worldwide, we see people that are reading your poems and they're trying to understand the sense, your essence, and your personal essence. And I feel like, oh my God, these people are really connecting with her, with you. I mean, Dimitra. So I was
Well,
really,
and
really, really happy
you too,
when I was
George.
reading
Like,
them.
they're connecting with you too, because it's, you know, in a way it's your poem as well now, you know, in that language. I actually wanted to ask you, was it difficult to translate into Spanish?
Well, not exactly. I mean, since I have my experience in English, I mean, it was not so difficult, but there were some words or some terms, I mean, like scientific terms, and so I have to search for them in English, and I was really well, I was asking myself, what was she talking about? But I was not feeling weird. I mean, I was really happy because I was reading some kind of different subject that I'm really used to, because I'm used to like talking about romanticism, about relationships, about love, about family, and now I was reading about nature, and it was cool to see that you were like related. I mean, you're really relating these poems to biology or I mean, this taxonomy field, and it was really interesting. So I wanted to ask you, why did you write? Why did you write about this, about that poem, about that subject? I want to ask you about the first poem that I translated.
Yeah, so the
Would you
Black
tell me a
Cockatoo
little bit?
poem.
Yes, this one. Yeah, that. Yeah, yes. I was really, really
Yeah. So
wondering.
when I so I found that with like those scientific taxonomic classifications, there's actually the story behind them is actually really poetic a lot of the time. And there's and a lot of that poem was inspired by what I read about how the birds were scientifically classified. So, for example, with the black cockatoos, their scientific classification is Caloptorhynchus funareus, and that was because the guy who classified them thought that their feathers were so black they were funereal. So we get funareus. And then you'll notice with that poem, I've drawn on a lot of imagery of death. You know, the birds fly, you know, steadily like pallbearers. You know, their feathers are black as the clothes we wear at funerals. So I found like just in that taxonomic classification, even though it's a scientific classification, there's a lot of poetic potential, you know, George. So that was sort of why I started looking at and named it that, because even though it's scientific, yeah, there's a lot of metaphorical sort of power in those terms. If that
Well,
makes sense.
yes, it does. Yes, it does, and it's a really great. I mean, really cool background behind the poem. I mean, and it's a really beautiful text, and in English and in Spanish, because I really enjoyed it, and I felt like this, like you were taking me like on a trip, and with my, I mean, you were taking like my hand, and you were taking me to
Oh,
outside my mind, outside my place, and I was like, living it. I was living the poem. I was
Oh,
really feeling it. I, it was like
that's wonderful.
seeing another picture. I mean, it was a different picture and another vision. And yeah, it was really, really comforting for my heart. I really,
Oh,
really loved the experience. So well, I was asking, well, I was trying to think about this, but I was wondering how long does it take you to write a poem? Do you write it fast? You write fast poems, or you take your time thinking on your ideas, or how does inspiration comes into your mind?
yeah. So I'm a very slow writer, George. It takes me a really long time to finish a poem, and I never get it all at once. So often what happens is I'll get an idea, and I'll start writing some ideas down, and then what's going to happen is over months, sometimes even years, I confess, sometimes poems take me years, but I write a lot of drafts and a lot of editing. Um, and it takes a lot of, like, sometimes I even have to put the poem away for a couple of months to let it sort of
Yeah,
marinate in my subconscious. Um,
yes,
uh, um, yes.
yeah.
um,
People will
I,
get
sorry about that, internet.
it.
I was just saying, I want to get the images right, and I want to get them really vivid and really clear. And I also want to make sure that, I'm getting the essence of whatever I'm writing about. And it's not cliche, it's pushing language. Like, I want to make sure that I'm exerting enough imaginative pressure on the language.
See, yes.
So it takes me a long time. Yeah, I like to take my time with them, because otherwise, what's if it's not right, if it's not good, what's the point? So, but
Yeah.
I know a lot of other poets, write the most incredible poems in one go, and can write a poem in a day. I'm not that kind of poet.
You remind me about somebody, and well, you remind me about me because about myself because when I'm writing, I mean, I try to get ideas in a really fluid way, and when they're really fluid, really fast, and I just write it down, and I don't know. Sometimes for me to write a poem is really easy. It's a really quick stuff. And when I have my poem done, it's really done. I just save it on a Word document. I save it in a Word document and then send it to my friend Carlos Harkin, who is a
Yes.
great friend of ours, and he's a real great friend of ours, and I love him so much. He's really amazing and he's really talented. And yes, I know many of his poems too. And he has an anthology. He has an anthology, and it's really amazing too. I
Yes,
love his work.
and just so generous, and just the way he promotes other poets is amazing, isn't it?
Yes, yes, and I met him through LinkedIn. I was looking for people related to my field because I was I got my degree on in communications, so I set up my LinkedIn account, and then I was connecting with people around the world on there, and so he came across, and I sent him a request, and he accepted it, and we start talking, and we talked about his work and about mine, and we found this spot, and it was like, oh, this is the link for between us. This is the real link between us, and he got my point. So I start writing, and I start sending him poems, and I'm really glad because he helped me to get to people from other places, from other cultures and other countries and other continents. And it's not only talking about in this, I mean, local city, I mean, the same situation like Jalapa, because I'm from Jalapa. It's a Mexican city. It's the capital of the state of Veracruz, and it's a really beautiful place. And what can I say? It's different because Jalapa is a very beautiful place. It's like this metropolitan and like this Athens, but they call them the Veracruz and Athens. It's like a Athens,
Oh
like from
wow.
Greece.
Like
Yes,
Greece, yeah.
yeah, because we have beautiful places here. I mean, very beautiful locations like libraries, all buildings, and they're like this colonial and neoclassical, many other baroque, and yeah, baroque and other kinds of art, many other kinds of art, and it's really beautiful here. And we
I'm
have beautiful
sure,
parks
yeah.
too. And we
Yes,
hope
yeah.
one day we can see you here and take you for a tour. I mean, we can tour you and
Be
show you
amazing.
here because you will love Jalapa. And yeah, it's like it's like this little or medium-sized city, but we have many many activities to do. I mean, we have a really busy life, and many people are really busy here. I mean, there's a lot of traffic. Sometimes it's really annoying. People like to I mean, sometimes when I go in my car with my mom or or in a bus, I mean in the public transportation, like a bus or yeah, like a cab, and there's a lot of traffic here. But at the same time, I'm really used to that, so it's not a problem because I developed some tolerance, and
Yeah.
yeah, but it's really
Well,
cool because I really love my city. But getting to other places with people like you, and I know that I got to Australia through your poems. It's really amazing and a really honor experience for me. It's a really cool, the coolest experience for me till now.
oh,
It's
me
amazing.
too. I'm really curious. You were saying that, you know, about your writing process, how you write really quickly. Is that right?
Yes, it's really quick. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ideas always like are hitting me. I mean, like in my brain, on the neurons, and I just like
Just fire off.
yeah, I have the idea, and I'm picturing those ideas, and I just start writing. And when I don't have a book and I don't have anything to, I don't know physically, and I have to go to my desktop. Yeah, I have to go to my desk and see if my laptop is there, and when I see it, I open it and I start opening Word, the Word application, and then I start writing, and it's really
Do you
quick.
think do you
It's
like
really
do you think those ideas have been like percolating in your mind for a while maybe, and then sort of they spill out? Or is it really just you get the idea and then you've just got to write it down in that moment? Or do you think there's sort of like subconsciously maybe they're like maturing in your mind and then
it's
they
like a
come out as in the poem maybe?
it's like a mixture. I think
Yeah.
all those yes, I think it's a mixture of anything that you say, and yeah, it's like subconsciously I'm thinking the idea, and but at the same time, I know that I want to write it, and then I start just letting my hand or my mind just go with the flow and start moving, and I just
Yeah.
like this me and like this is like instrument, like yeah,
Yes.
I'm just channeling my energy, and I just put it on my poems like you've rated, because I know for a fact that you have read some poems from um from my Facebook account, and yes, they come from my heart. It's really in
Oh,
my nature. They come from my nature and from my inner self, and I'm really excited when I'm start writing or thinking. And sometimes I like to write even songs. I have some few inedited songs. I mean, in secret, and like top secret. But yeah, maybe one
sure.
day I will sing them in Spanish
Oh,
and
you should.
English, and yes, I will. I will try to publish them. And yeah, some of them I inspire from my personal relationships, like with my father, with my brothers, or with a lover that I had or I have, or, I mean a past lover, or well somebody who's special till this day. And yes, I always think about all those people. I mean, I always think about them, and that they're like this leitmotif for mm, powerful reasons. So I can start writing, and I feel like this is my field too. This is my talent, and I'm taking
Yeah.
advantage from that. And
So,
I'm
like,
really, and I really enjoy it.
so your sort of poetic inspiration are your relationships with others. Is that where sort of the poetic drive comes from for you?
Yeah, from the good and the bad stuff, of course. Because if I have to say, oh, this was really just perfect. No, I mean, I have to say what it was really the truth. I mean, it was the truth, because I try to be always be like this open and honest guy. So I don't want to be like this fakey person towards anyone or towards the world. So I try to show my real self, to show the real one, the real me. So, and yeah, if
That makes
they
better
well, if,
poetry, I think. When you're
yes,
honest and authentic, it makes better poetry.
yeah, I think people will feel related to that. So I really hope that people feel well, like really calm, like they can feel calm and feel a little bit of peace,
Mm,
because sometimes people don't have another person to talk to, or because they are like dying inside from inside, and if they see my poems, they can see, they will see, and will start to imagine how I was feeling on that moment, and they say, oh, I think I can get this man, and I get his point. I know how
totally.
he feels, and sometimes he knows that sometimes there's a point of no return, or maybe yes, maybe there are many stuff. I mean, because it was according to the currently energy of that moment, because energy is always fluid. So I'm always like in this stuff, but I know for a fact that also for this reason that I really love doing poetry. This is one of the biggest reasons for that for that craft. I mean, I'm really thankful for you, for Carlos, and for all these other poet friends and around the world. And yes, they make me feel
It's
like connecting with myself, like you.
totally couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
I,
I
I
mean,
don't.
poetry is an act of connection, isn't it? Like poetry itself, it's you reaching out to someone else and being able to touch them and share something with them. So I totally appreciate what you're saying. Yeah, and
and,
feel that.
just to feel it, and something to be everywhere. I mean, everywhere is Spain. The connection is Spain everywhere. But it's okay. Yes, sometimes I cry when I write poems or where I write my stories or when I think about somebody that is really special for me because because they really mean a lot to me. It's because I have these deep feelings for them, and I can't lie about my heart. My heart is really big. I know sometimes we cannot be perfect, but we try to say, "Oh, but this is my essence. I'm this
Yeah,
person. I'm not trying to hide from a mask over an ego because it's not going to work. I mean,
that's right.
and I was
And
thinking
it
about
makes,
somebody.
oh, sorry. I was just
I
thinking,
know.
with poetry, you can't like you can't really wear a mask in a way. Like poetry doesn't let you do that. There's something for a poem to work, for a poem to be good. There's an element of authenticity. Even if you're, making up the poem, even if you're lying to tell the truth, that it's still. Sorry, I lost you again.
To God, I pray to God because everybody listened to me and the network was back.
Yeah, I was just thinking, poetry as an art form, there's something about it where you can't lie. There has to be truth, something truthful to for the poem to work, I think. So I think it does move us so profoundly, maybe more so than in other art forms because of that, because somehow language is sort of stripped back to a truth in poetry. Um, so yeah, I mean, it is interesting. They've done studies on the way, poetry lights up parts of the brain that don't light up when you read prose or fiction. So it's pretty powerful, the connection that. Sorry, internet.
So yeah, and I mean, and I'm like start praying to God, and network is always back. It's really comical.
Pray to a higher power.
Yes, yeah, I love this stuff. I love these powers. This power stuff. Yeah, yeah. Just you're really right. You can like. I mean, in a poem, you can't lie because
Agreed.
I don't know. It's like this energy saver. It's like it's gained your energy, and even if you read it, I don't know, in 10 years later or 5 years later, but you can feel the same energy on that text. It doesn't
Yes.
matter physically how it was conceived, but physically it was conceived, but you can feel the energy because energy is like this excess. It's like the excess for life, the excess of
Yeah.
life, I mean. So I don't know. Do you think that phones are really energy savers from us? Yeah, I do think so.
I think that's actually, yeah, very true. There's something about the way language is able to embody the energy or the essence, right? And then,
Mhm.
that same poem 10 years later can have the same impact on you that it had, or even a greater impact, because there's something about the way language has been used, you know, that it somehow contains that energy or embodies that energy. Absolutely. I know some of my favorite poems, I'll read them and then come back years later and it still, knocks me around in the chest. Like
The same feeling.
it's quite mysterious. Like I think that connection of energy and language,
Yes, and I really understand it really deeply. And I read some comments from the audience, and this user, I mean, this user here, some talks so. I don't know how you read the username, but okay.
Yeah.
She says, well, say, can like really comfortable hiding with mask, with egos. I mean, with that, I don't know, personalization that is a really like be in like imposters. Yeah, imposters, and I don't know. It's like it's something that really I always think about it, and psychologically, it makes me think about how complex human nature really is. So I try to be like more compassionate, yeah, comprehensive and compassionate with other people and with other people issues or reasons. But yeah, but yes, I always try to feel like this connection from the heart, and I don't know, it's really beautiful. I mean,
I
talking
think
about energy and poems, yes, they're really related.
I think I lost you. I was just trying to say, the way poetry allows us to step into other people's shoes, and uh, and also feel, maybe, there isn't so much difference between us, or it's a very powerful form in terms of compassion, I think, poetry, because it doesn't judge. In poetry, there's no judgment. I don't think a good poem can be a judgy poem. Um, Lost you again. I don't know how much of that I caught.
No, we have like it's yeah, we have like 35 minutes on here, but we can talk more because we have like 50 minutes, and yeah, Instagram lives always send like this message that says, oh, it's almost done, so
Okay.
we can still talk, so to feel
Yes.
empathic and yeah, empathic, sorry, empathic, and be like always this trustworthy person with them, and feeling their pain, feeling their emotions, feeling their struggles, feeling their smiles, their laughs, their tears. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah. I think,
Yes,
what we were saying about truth before, that poetry can't lie or good poems don't lie. I think that's deeply connected to the way poetry and is related to compassion as well. When um, you're reading a poem and you're feeling someone else's truth, it's very hard not to be touched by that. It's very hard not to step into their words. And like you so beautifully said at the top of our discussion, a poet sort of takes you by the hand and leads you through their experience or what they're seeing. So yeah, I think the way poetry sort of speaks personally, almost intimately to each reader and brings them into the experience of the poem and the experience of the speaker in the poem is very powerful. And I think it's connected to, I think truth and compassion are very sort of key connected things in that way in poetry. Yeah.
true that. And I was I was thinking I was thinking another question, and I was also wondering, how did you approach to poetry? What's the story behind it?
Like, how did I get into poetry?
Yes, how did you get into it? I mean, tell me, well, tell us about it. I want to
Um,
know. I
okay.
really want to know about it.
I
I'm really curious.
I fell in love with poetry when I was very little. I was very young. So my mother used to read me Blake, William Blake and Shakespeare. And oh my God, it was like magic. Oh, sorry, I lost you again, George. I was just saying, when
No,
I
no
was,
apologies. It's just a network. Just
um,
go,
yeah,
just
okay.
talk, because I want to listen to you. I just really want to listen to you.
Thank you.
No
Yeah,
problem.
so
You're welcome.
I really struggled with language and with reading and writing when I was little. So yeah, it all started with Shakespeare, really. I fell in love with, I think I saw the first production I saw was A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I just thought this was the most magical thing I'd ever heard, ever seen, because it was like language was more than just what it meant. Language was also music, and it was able to speak in poetry. Language was able to speak to you the way a piece of music speaks to you. Um, and so I was just like, I need to, somehow do this. I didn't think when I was little, I didn't think I was clever enough to write poetry. And I ended up actually going into theatre and studying performance and acting. It actually took me a long time to realize what I really wanted to do was write. Um, yeah, I did. After I did performance studies at university, I did a master's in writing. And yeah, I've been writing ever since. That was about 10 years ago. So I've been writing and publishing for about 10 years now. But yeah, the love started when I was little, very little. Yeah.
So I think
How did you do
so
it?
how did I get into poetry? In my case, okay, well, I recall some memories from my childhood. Yeah, you brought me back to my childhood when you say, tune. Yeah, yeah, that network's here. So yeah, I was like this 6 or 7 year old kid, and I was like always I was at home in my living room, taking the books from my stands from yeah from this well in this places that I always keep our books of the family books, and I start reading about history and scientific terms and all these kind of concepts that when you're a little kid, you just don't know what to expect, but you try to discover life. And I mean, I was like finding, finding the essence and the true essence of life. I was like trying to understand why I was living here. I don't know how would you say it. I was like yeah, it was like a little philosophical. Yeah, I was like a little philosophical stuff
Yeah.
through my mind, and I was like always reflecting. I was always reflecting on why nature behaves like this, why this stuff happens, why this other situation takes place, and I was trying to get all of the dots. And when I got well, when it hit, oh, I mean when it hit on my head, yes, I saw that like it was really really interesting, but it was really complex. It was really complex to understand. But at the same time, I was thinking that it was a really beautiful experience to connect with with my life, with my existence. I mean, the true essence of my of living. So when I started reading poetry, I was like, I remember that I always read about love. Yeah, I was always reading about love and about relationships and forgiving. Sometimes like grieving for a loss, but sometimes that loss, it wasn't always a loss. Was like this transformation, like a transformation into something better and like something really
Mm.
I don't know, something new from that, but something new. I mean, you don't go out, you just don't get out from that situation, but it takes another color or another vision. So when I think about that, I always try to relate to my current situations, and I was thinking about something really personal that happened not too many weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I do understand now. But at the same time, still breathing, and I still understand why I'm here and why I have to be honest, why I have to be open. I mean, I was not dying, but I got a really hard disease like cancer because I had cancer, but now I don't have it. Thank God. Yeah,
Wow.
thank the gods because I don't have it now anymore, and I'm really happy.
Amazing.
But yes, yeah, and it was in a really initial phase. It was a really initial. Sure, and say always to my inner self, say you're going to get through this, and you're going to get what you lost. You're going to get what I'm like say. You're going to get your family back. You're going to get your friends back. You're going to get your love back. You're going to get your job back. Everything that you lost. it's going to get, it's going to come back. It's going to come back 10 times. I mean, 10 times better than before. And now it's happening. I'm living a new life. I'm living a new day, a new morning. And I see light. And when I remember also my poems and the poetry, poetry reminds me to be strong. Reminds me, also reminds me to be strong, to be always willing to accept all experiences and just get the best from all of them. And remember that I have many experiences to live before I leave this world, and I know that I'm really getting to my goals. Yes, I do believe that. And I do believe that poetry is also like this strength for me. It's like a tool. It's like a really powerful tool for me now, spiritually and physic physically and yeah, spiritually and energetically.
Oh,
And many
totally.
more. And
Yes.
now I'm really glad because I'm here. Here, I mean, maybe not physically in the same place, but we can see each other. I mean, face to face through through this technologic. I mean, this through technology channel, and Instagram is a great channel for this.
It's Yeah, and it's amazing that, we speak different, like, our first language is different. And yet poetry can have such a similar effect for both of us, like poetry is a source of strength for both of us. It's a way that we connect to ourselves and to the world. Um, and it's so wonderful then also to be able to connect to you and to share our love of poetry.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And before we stop the conversation, do you have any words for for Mexico? Oh yeah, for the Mexican people. I mean, do you have a message for us, the Mexican people, in how to connect with poetry, how to understand and be more sensitive?
Oh, I don't know. Um, just that,
Oh, this is like a
I
tricky
want to
question. I
connect
don't.
with you more. I want to connect with you more. Um, you know, actually, do you have any recommendations for Mexican poets I should be reading? What Mexican poets should I read? Maybe you can recommend some for me.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will send you some recommendations, and you will love them because it's all his story as a poet, as an author, as a writer, and as a person. And Octavio Paz is really cool, really cool, very talented,
Cool. I think I
very,
missed a bit
very
of that.
artistic. Yeah, it's pure art, and you will love it. You will fall in love with him.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
He wrote beautiful words. He wrote so many beautiful books and beautiful words and many reflections. And he told the real life. He told what real life is. And before passing away in 1998, I was 5. I was 5 years old at that time. And but I remember, yeah, I remember people used to, and that when I was a little kid and I was hearing about authors, I mean Mexican authors and poetry, the people always told me about him. So yeah, yeah, you can start by reading
Sweet.
Octavio Paz. And I will try to look for translations. I could help you with I mean
Oh,
translating
thank you.
all his works, but if we can find them already translated into English, it could be easier for you because you don't have to do just I mean sentence by sentence to
That
translate
would be
sentence by sentence
amazing.
because it
Yeah,
would be amazing, but it would take a lot of time because he has a lot of work. He has lots of work right done, and it's like this, yeah, legacy. It's his legacy, amazing
wow,
legacy,
that sounds
and
incredible.
we always we cherish this. We cherish his legacy, and that's why I'm taking seminars about him, and it makes you feel like in like this union with his energy and with his essence, even he is not here anymore. But you can feel it because his energy is always here. Energy never lies.
Yeah, yeah. He put it in his words. He put his energy and his life into his words, right? That's
Yes,
beautiful.
absolutely. Yeah,
That's amazing.
I really hope
Sorry, go on.
I will help you. No, no, it's okay. I will help you looking for all his material, and we can discuss about him later in another session. We
Oh,
can
I love
bring
that.
you back here. We can bring you back on here and continue this conversation because I would love to keep on this track with you.
Likewise, George. It's been so lovely talking with you. It's been so
Thank you
wonderful.
very much. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for letting me to be in touch with you in this kind of I mean in this kind of platform, and it's amazing. I love this modern life because this is like an advantage for us.
Me too. Absolutely my pleasure and my honor. My honor.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much, Dimitra. So
You
I'm
will be getting
gonna thank you. So I'm gonna say goodbye to all the audience. So please stay tuned for the next session with Dimitra and other guests that we will bring into our channel. And I send you blessings and a big hug from my heart. And God bless you. Ciao.
Thanks, George. Bye.
Bye.